So what difference do you see in terms of students in India and in terms of students in UK?
What is important is having a good circle around you and having a good network to help you acclimatise. So it's really important that you've considered what you want to study, why you want to study it, and why you're so excited about the course.
हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू मेरिडियन ओवरसीज़। आज आपके पास बेहतरीन अपॉर्चुनिटी है अगर आप प्लान कर रहे हैं एजुकेशन अब्रॉड या इंडिया, यूके, बाहर के देश में और भारत में क्या फ़र्क है उसको समझने की। तो आपके पास आज हैं निक कैरी, जो कि यूके से आए, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ लंदन से पास आउट हैं, इंडिया के अंदर बेस्ड हैं और अपने मेरिडियन ओवरसीज़ के अंदर लाइजनिंग ऑफिसर प्लस स्टूडेंट्स को हेल्प कर रहे हैं। आपकी SOP राइटिंग हो, चाहे आपका एडमिशन प्रोसेस हो, ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी हो, कैम्ब्रिज हो, इंपीरियल हो, हार्वर्ड हो, हर तरीके की यूनिवर्सिटी में अगर आपको गाइडेंस चाहिए तो उसके अंदर ये हेल्प करते हैं। तो कुछ क्वेश्चंस इनसे करेंगे आज कि किस तरीके से बच्चे को प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए, क्या क्या चीज़ें ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए, और साथ में इंडिया और यूके में या इंडिया और वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड के अंदर क्या डिफरेंस है उसको हम थोड़ा सा समझने की कोशिश करेंगे। और आपके लिए ये पॉडकास्ट इसलिए इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि अगर आप टॉप यूनिवर्सिटीज़ टारगेट कर रहे हैं तो आपको ये पॉडकास्ट के अंदर बहुत सारे सवालों के जवाब इसके अंदर मिल जाएंगे। Hello Nick, welcome to India, and I'm really thankful to you that you have settled in India nicely now. And the first question will be, how do you feel transiting from UK and coming to India, and how did you find yourself a place in India, and like how do you feel living in this country?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and yeah, thank you for letting me experience this wonderful country. It was a real challenge the first few months, transitioning to the new culture, transitioning to the new weather. I was very shocked, even in September, how sweltering it was, the weather. And it was funny, I had people texting me from home complaining about the weather being 30 degrees and how it's so hot. And I would just send back a snapshot, 40 degrees. Yeah, keep complaining. But no, you settle into it, you work out how the locals acclimatise. I think obviously it's harder for me. I'm much used to colder climates, like this winter weather. It's beautiful. But what is important is having a good circle around you and having a good network to help you acclimatise. And I think establishing people that I could trust early on and seeking out the advice of people that have lived here already really helped me acclimatise.
सो बेसिकली जो पहला इशू है वो है वेदर का, जो आपको भी फेस होने वाला है, जो निक ने भी फेस किया, और दूसरा है कि ऐसी कंपनी जिसको आप ट्रस्ट कर सको और जो आपको हेल्प कर सके सेटल इन होने में और ग्रो होने में। सो व्हाट डिफरेंस डू यू सी इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स इन इंडिया एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स इन यूके एंड देयर पैटर्न ऑफ थिंकिंग, यू कैन से, और व्हाट इज़ द रियल 2-3 थिंग्स विच यू फाइंड इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट एंड लाइक विच आर इम्पॉर्टेंट बट नॉट बीन डिलीवर्ड?
Well, compared to my knowledge of what it's like for a regular student in India, UK universities tend to approach learning in a more collaborative way, whilst also fostering a lot of independence. The class times, the contact hours you have in Indian universities are stronger. So in the UK, you really must appreciate that you have a lot more free time, but you must use those university resources. There are so many resources that universities offer that I think a lot of students, particularly domestic students, don't utilise effectively. You'll find that there are far more international students at universities in the UK, and you can see a real difference in the attitudes that they approach learning. International students have had to jump through so many more hoops to earn a place at this university, and whilst jumping through these hoops, they really appreciate all of the resources and services available to them at universities in the UK. Lots of big companies, particularly for the top universities, will have strong connections with them. So it's really important to get in touch with the career and guidance counsellors at the universities and use those connections that universities have with companies in order to further your career.
So since you have counselled more than 1 lakh students in India and almost like helped 10,000s of SOPs for the Indian students to sort it out for the best universities possible for them, brainstorming sessions. You had humongous hours and hours of practice in brainstorming with the kids in India and who are planning to study abroad. Mm-hmm. So the major difference you see is that students have less teaching hour in UK or Western world, whereas the teaching hours are very strong in India, which is almost like 6 to 7 hours per day. So the research part is lacking in India. I think that's my observation as well. And the universities in UK or the Western world are working with the corporates, the big companies, and trying to tailor their courses according to the demand of the market.
Absolutely.
Whereas in the Indian traditions, the courses are going on since independence, I think, and it has been the same structure. So, how do you want to say to the students who are planning for the big universities? Because I'm sure a lot of students from India are planning for Oxford, Harvard, and the big names. What are the 3 or 4 things which you would like to advise them, and where they can be like really sure that these are the 4 things? If I'll focus on these 4 things, I'll get my admission into these big universities.
The application process for the elite universities are very rigorous, and it's quite well known this. My first thing to say would be to start early. If you're in 12th standard now, it's probably too late if you haven't started applying for Oxford. You really need to start applying towards the end of your 11th standard and have all your predicted grades ready, and that's what you would use to show your credentials, your academic credentials. Starting early doesn't just mean applying early. You really need to think about what sets your application apart from the rest of the applicants. This is quite a shocking fact. How many people would you imagine get admitted to Oxford University in a year, each year?
I think around 2,000 students.
It's around 3,250 on average, and 20,000 people apply. So you need to make sure that you have set yourself apart from the rest of these applicants. And remember, these 20,000 applicants aren't going to be any regular Joe. They're going to be really high performing. They're going to have a lot of expectation placed on them, and that they will place on themselves. So you really need to set yourself apart when it comes to your application process. You need to think about extracurricular activities, supercurricular activities as well. These are things that aren't just showing the diversity of your interests, but supercurricular activities. These show how much in-depth study you have done around your course. So you're not just studying the texts that are in your high school, you are studying 5 times more than that, so that you really show an example of it. Because remember, high school, the things that you see in high school are just a minuscule amount compared to what you would achieve and experience in university. So you need to start preparing yourself for that fact now. Instead of reading maybe 2 or 3 books in a term, you'll be expected to read 2 or 3 books in a week, sometimes in a day. So it's really, really important that you understand all those aspects essentially that will set you apart. Next, apart from starting early, you also need to think about who you are as a person and why you are interested in the subject. Don't just look at the course, look at each and every module and decide which modules are going to matter to you. When you enroll on a course at university, you are then required to select your modules before you attend the university. I think this is a pitfall that lots of people fall into, especially if they're not super aware of the culture of universities. So pick those courses early, so pick those modules early as well, because you might not get a place on that module if somebody else has picked it before you. Next, when it comes to your SOP, this is super important. Around 80% of your SOP should be focused on your academics. Pick 2 or 3 areas of your academics and really delve into it. Show your knowledge, show your experience of how you have studied it, but most of all, show how excited you are, because the experiences at university are going to feed your excitement, so they want to see that you're very hungry for this course as well. And a 4th thing about preparing for the university is develop good relationships. You're going to need some good references to back up your profile. So think about the teachers that you have encountered so far. Tell them about your intentions to study. They'll have plenty of experience in teaching students that want to go to these universities, I'm sure. So let them know of your intentions, and I'm sure they'll be very honoured to know that you would like to use them for your letter of recommendation. So let them know early and ask them, what are the things that I can do to impress you and make you think that I'm capable of a place at a top university?
That was beautiful. To sum this up, if you want to get into the top universities, start reading. Find out which universities you are aiming for, and don't look at the course only, rather look at the subjects on their website. Work on those subjects, and when it comes to SOP, 80% focus is on your academics, plus you have to show the eagerness of learning, so that your SOP is separate or is more attractive. And 4th and foremost thing is that build your relationship with your teachers, who can write a good LOR for you, who can work with you and help you getting into the right university. So Nick, how do you support the students who comes to you and meet you in Jaipur office at Meridian? How do you help and work with them? Because majority of the students will be coming, either they have completed their 12th or are in 12th, because it's too late already. So when is the good time, and if parents wants to know and meet you, uh, how do you define that this is the time period you should come and contact me, and this is the way I will help you, or these are the things I expect from you?
Okay. Well, let's focus on undergraduate. If you want to study, say, at Oxford University as an undergraduate, you really need to start thinking about this by the latest by your 10th standard, because you need to select your subjects for your 12th standard. I believe you set your subjects. When do you decide which are the 5 core subjects you will study for your 12th standard?
After 10th.
After 10th. You need to start thinking about your Oxford application from this moment, because if you say want to study biomedical sciences, you need to make sure you've got maths, you need to make sure you've got physics, chemistry. These 3 are super important. If you haven't selected those, then you can forget about studying biomedical sciences at Oxford and in most universities. So when a student comes to us and wants to go to Oxford, and they hopefully have thought about what subject they want to study, we would have that discussion and ensure why it is right for them. I would ask them a few questions about why they are interested. I wouldn't necessarily see their credentials, because I expect if you make the effort to come to me, you have the credentials, and that will become apparent as we discuss. We then discuss, we look at the course exactly that they want to study. We decide which modules appeal to them the most. I'll make sure that they have spent at least an hour looking at every single module and considering what is it that appeals to them. Because once you've selected those modules, you can then start to think about how your prior knowledge feeds into this module and how you can talk about it in your SOP. If you don't show an interest or don't show an understanding of what is entailed in the course in your SOP, it's not going to inspire confidence or joy in the person assessing your application. So it's really important that you've considered what you want to study, why you want to study it, and why you are so excited about the course. Then there is the other elements of the SOP. We think about your extracurricular activities that you have done. These need to go into your UCAS application. You have space for 4 options to add to your application, and you need to be able to think about how it feeds into what makes you an interesting applicant, and how you can describe yourself, and how it creates this full picture of who you are.
Brilliant, that was really good. So basically, if you are a parent or either you are a student of 10th class, you need to make sure that you have consulted the right person, or else your admission wishes for the top universities such as Oxford or Imperial or Harvard will not be a good wish to have, because you have to plan really ahead. And if you need assistance from Nick, he is currently available in Jaipur, and you can also do Zoom sessions, and you can contact Meridian Overseas team. But this is to also let you know that every call cannot be answered by Nick. Therefore, there is a process which you have to follow, and definitely then Nick will be able to help you. Those ambitious parents who wants to send their students to top 10 or top 20 universities have to start working on the applications at least 1.5 to 2 years before the targeted year. So if you are in that zone and if you want to apply to these universities, contact Nick and he'll definitely help you. And this is not for every kid, it is only for the kids, as Nick said, that if they are coming to him for guidance, he expects them at least triple A's in their A levels, so around 85% or above. Don't ask for to get admission in Oxford with having 60 or 65%, because that's waste of your time and our efforts. But definitely, if you are looking for your kids' bright future in top-notch universities, this is the best option. So far, I have seen in India that Nick personally will be looking at your applications. He has been a teacher for at least 7 to 8 years in UK universities and schools. So he knows what he's doing, and he's trying to help those who really need or who are really high aim people who are looking for good universities only. So Nick, thank you so much. Is there anything you really want to add on for the cultural shock you have seen or something?
One thing before mentioning cultural shocks, I think one thing that's important before approaching me, think about look at the admissions tests for the subject that you want to study at the university. They are available on all their websites. Most subjects at these top universities have an admissions test, and you can do practice tests as well. I tried a biomedical science test earlier. I really tried at the first 2 questions, and then I was just guessing the rest of them, but I'm not a biomedical expert. But if you are in 10th standard and you're interested in biomedical science and you're studying science, so you're studying physics, chemistry, maths, then just go onto the biomedical science test, admissions test on the Oxford website and give it a go. See how well you do. The standard of questions are sort of they're the kind of questions you would expect to see in your classes, even at 10th standard, but they're the real toughest questions. The kind of questions that 99% of people alive won't be able to get. But if you're sharp and you're at school and you're familiar with these things, it's something that you should be able to do. And if you score well in the time frame, then definitely you should start thinking, maybe I am Oxford University material. With regards to culture shock, there's
Before
plenty.
that, I'll just ask you one question.
Oh yeah.
Hearing you brings a lot of questions in my mind. And one question is like, I know it will be very personalized and tailor-made situation, but what is the ordinary admission process for Oxford or Imperial? Like, what steps do we really need to follow?
So all the steps are available on the website, and if you're unsure, you can come to me and we can discuss it. But generally, it's all of the regular things you would expect with any other university. You've got to make sure your visa is there. You've got to make sure you have the right grades in order to get onto the course. But it's the bonus steps that really make it different is the interview. You're likely to have an interview at these elite universities, and you're likely to have to sit an admissions test, which is tailored for people to just to prove to the university that you do have this knowledge. Because especially some people taking these admissions tests might have taken their 12th standard or 10th standard exams a few years ago. That knowledge might not be fresh. So these admissions tests are necessary and mandatory to make sure that the university is confident that the student they're getting is sharp and is going to deal with the concepts that they're going to be met with. And essentially, at these universities, showing your soft skills is super important. So the university will be judging you on your soft skills. At all these universities, even before the interview, they'll be judging you on your soft skills. So it's really important that when you're talking to the university, you're being polite, you're not giving curt responses, your grammar is good, and you're not being too demanding. You have to understand that there is a person on the other side of the admissions process. They have a lot of pressure. They're dealing with so many applications with a lot of serious ramifications for these people. So that you have to understand the pressure that they're under, and maintaining politeness, even if you're feeling impatient, is super important. So your soft skills are being judged even before the interview process in your interactions with the university.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And again, the cultural shock will come back to it. So, because I'm sure the same thing will be faced by the students who are moving to UK. So it will help them to understand that it's not just Indians going abroad, it's also a British person coming to India has to deal with the same kind of situations. So I would like to know about your experience in that.
I suppose I'm a bit fortunate because I came to India and I've been surrounded by Indian culture a lot in the last sort of 15 to 16 years. But I think the biggest cultural shock was probably the food. Here in Rajasthan, we tend to like things quite spicy, and I can handle my spice compared to the average Gora, but yeah, sometimes I just want a bit of non-spicy food. You guys call it bland food. I wouldn't call it bland, but I would just like something that doesn't sting the tongue so much. I remember on my second month here, was just feeling like just wanted a nice calm, easy meal. So I ordered a nice pasta arrabbiata and thought, okay, that would be nice, easy soothing meal. Haven't had pasta in about 3 months. It comes to me and it was the spiciest thing I've ever had, man. I did not expect this. I was like, please, one meal. But as you meet more people, as you explore more, I found a few restaurants that can deal with food that my day-to-day palate can deal with. Mostly Lebanese, Mediterranean food. That's my best. But I do love Indian food. I don't want you to think I don't love Indian food. Dosa, oh my gosh. I'd never heard of dosa before I came here. Can you believe this?
Really?
As a self-proclaimed someone who's known about Indian culture for 14 years, I came to
Never
India
heard of
last
dosa.
year and I'd never heard of dosa. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to move to South India now. Have it every day.
Nice. That was really good advice you have given to students, and definitely it has given me a lot of information. So thank you so much for that. And guys, if you really want to take advantage of this opportunity to speaking with Nick, and he can connect you with so many graduates who have done it from Oxford, Harvard, Imperial, and definitely take benefit of this opportunity, and feel free to contact me or Nick, and our team will definitely guide you how to conduct your session, how to go forward with it. And just to let you know that we get humongous amount of inquiries, so we will not be able to answer each and every one. So there will be a process. You have to go through that process, and once that is done, your academic profile is built and everything. Once it comes to us, we'll definitely help you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in next episode. Nick will be guiding you on many universities through our YouTube platforms, so you can also take benefit of that. If you can't reach to us, that is one way you can stay connected and watch the podcast, which will be coming in next couple of months. So every second week, Nick will be releasing a video regarding many universities and in detail admission processes, and it will guide you in detail for each and every university, which will be around top 100 world universities. Thank you so much, Nick, and thank you everyone.
Thank you.